reaction has been fast and furious against the International Criminal Court's move to get arrest warrants for the leaders of Israel and Hamas. The president of Israel says it will only encourage more terrorism.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu remains steadfast. Nothing will stop Israel from carrying out the war against Hamas. Julie Stahl brings us the story from Jerusalem.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called the decision a moral outrage of historic proportions that would cast an everlasting mark of shame on the international court.
Israel is waging a just war against Hamas, a genocidal terrorist organization that perpetrated the worst attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Hamas massacred 1,200 Jews, raped Jewish women, burned Jewish babies, took hundreds hostage.
Netanyahu's response came after the ICC's chief prosecutor said Monday he's seeking arrest warrants for Netanyahu and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, as well as 3 Hamas leaders, including Yahya Sinwar, for war crimes and crimes against humanity in connection with the current war. Israel's Knesset also swiftly opposed the ICC's action. Despite their political differences, a huge majority, 106 out of 120 Knesset members, signed a statement condemning the ICC's accusations. The statement says, in part, the scandalous comparison by the Hague prosecutor between Israel's leaders and the heads of terror organizations is an unerasable historic crime and a clear expression of anti-Semitism. Israeli President Isaac Herzog said the decision only emboldens terrorists around the world.
We will not forget who started this war, who raped, butchered, burnt, brutalized, and kidnapped innocent civilians and families. We will not forget our hostages, whose safe return should be the main concern of the international community.
President Biden also opposed the allegations against Israel.
Let me be clear. We reject the ICC's application for arrest warrants against Israeli leaders. Whatever these warrants may imply, there is no equivalence between Israel and Hamas. Contrary to allegations against Israel made by the International Court of Justice, what's happening is not genocide.
Internationally, France and Belgium backed the ICC's move for arrest warrants, but Italy called it unacceptable and absurd. Netanyahu said the charges against him were meant to take away Israel's right to self-defense, but he made it clear it would not stop the war against Hamas.
Now, in the face of these horrors, Mr. Khan creates a twisted and false moral equivalence between the leaders of Israel and the henchmen of Hamas. This is like creating a moral equivalence after September 11th between President Bush and Osama bin Laden, or during World War II between FDR and Hitler. What a travesty of justice. What a disgrace.
And while the ICC is accusing Israeli leaders of war crimes, the IDF says it has evacuated about 950,000 civilians in just 2 weeks from Rafah. Around 300,000 to 400,000 civilians remain, mostly in the coastal area. The speedy evacuation took place despite U.S. predictions that it would take about 4 months and high death tolls to get civilians out of the area. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, this seems to be all part of a propaganda campaign aimed squarely at Israel. To say that Israel has engaged in war crimes, is trying to do some kind of genocide, trying to starve a civilian population, all of that is against the facts on the ground. And you look at the ICC prosecutor, last name is Khan, his father was born in Pakistan. Is this just part of a wider alliance against Israel, trying to demonize the Israeli state? Well, we need to stand for truth, and we need to stand with Israel in her time of need. What happened on October 7th was pure evil, and we can't allow it to continue. Hamas cannot be allowed to maintain power in Gaza. They have to be eliminated. You look at what Israel is doing to protect the civilian population, what the IDF is, their rules of engagement, what they're trying to do to save civilian lives, the evacuation of more than 1 million people so quickly from Rafah, the last stronghold of Hamas. These are absolutely amazing things. And to say that somehow Israel is using starvation as a tool, again, it's against the facts. There was a survey done by Stanford University prior to October 7th that showed food insecurity rampant throughout Gaza because Hamas was diverting all the humanitarian aid into instruments of war to attack Israel. Let's understand the facts on the ground and make sure that we stand with them. We stand with Israel and not fall for this, it's just unbelievable propaganda campaign against her. Let people know you stand with Israel, you stand against this international court trying to demonize the leadership. We stand against Hamas. Anyone that says from the river to the sea, we need to call that out for what it is. It's a genocidal pledge against the Jewish people. That shouldn't be ever uttered on our college campuses. It shouldn't be ever part of the political conversation. Under international law, Israel has a right to exist. The Jewish people have a right to self-determination. Israel has a right to defend itself, and we all need to stand with her.